God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble. Okay. Hi, everybody. Quick sound check. Check we can all hear the choir. As torrents in summer often ride in their channels, suddenly rise, though the sky is still cloudless, the sky is still cloudless. Aha. Bit louder on the old choir, I think. Right. Marvellous. I think it's working. Marvellous. Okay, good morning, everybody. Who have we got? Hi, Lindsay. It is a beautiful, beautiful sunny Sunday. What a relief. After a couple of days of, well, miserable rain. But important rain. That's what I'm going to be talking about this morning. You know, we do need the rain, but it is nice when the sun shines, isn't it? So how are you this morning, Lindsay? Okay? Sunny Sunday in Chepstow. Well, everybody else who's watching, a very good morning to you. If you want to have a chat with us in the comments, actually it'll be that side, won't it? Have a chat with us on the comments. Let us know how you are. We're not starting officially till 11 o'clock, so it'll be lovely to hear from you. And do make sure you've got your drink of water handy. Right, water-themed Sunday. Oh, I've just spotted an error. That's when I move the keyboard. There we are. That's better. Check the slides. That all looks good. Thine be the glory. Fantastic hymn. And then finish with Wade in the Water. Who else have we got? Lindsay's doing well. Hello, Jane. Lovely day in Helzoen. Fabulous. Great to see you as well. I'm going to sip my drink. Ice cubes. How decadent. If any of you have a bit of time later on and you fancy having a little listen to the radio, if you listen to BBC Radio London, which you can get through the BBC Sounds app, and listen to Jumake's show this morning, which is the spiritual show on Sunday, I spent a lovely 10 minutes talking to her about the self-isolation choir. She's a chorister, she's in the choir, which is fabulous. And so if you have a minute, as I say, about 8:45 this morning, BBC Radio London, I was on talking to a really lovely lady who was very, very complimentary about the project and clearly is having a nice time. So let's see, who else have we got? We've got Teresa. Oh, I'm glad you like the Elgar. I really am. It's one of my favourite pieces. It's so beautiful and it's so apt. It's so important at this point, isn't it? Hazel, beautiful sunny day in the Scottish Highlands. Oh, I really miss. That's the thing I miss most about being in isolation is just the fresh country air, being able to go out and connect to nature. I think I've said we have a very small park. I mean, it's tiny. It's big. It's smaller than some people's back gardens out front. But we can see trees, we can see greenery, and actually, what's really nice is that because it hasn't been mowed or serviced, there's been nobody in the park for weeks now. It's all closed up. So all the grass is growing, lots of wildflowers, lots of animals now, lots of birds coming every day. And the neighbourhood cats are having a field day. My cat in particular, who is treating it as a little bit of a snack bar. But it is lovely to see nature. So wherever you are, and if you have access to nature, like Hazel, do enjoy it, because I would love to be up there with you. It sounds wonderful. Hello, Elisa. So Elsa from sunny Kirkwall. Everywhere seems to be sunny so far. Of course, if it's not, it will be soon. Hello, Anne. Hi, lovely to see you. And Michael. Fabulous. Oh, and my good friend Alan. Great to see you. First time with you live. Well, you are very, very welcome, my friend. I hope you're very well. I'm really missing our choirs, but, you know, we're here. We're all together, just not quite in the same way, but I think this kind of works, doesn't it? Fabulous. Oh, thanks, everybody. Good. So we've got some really nice music ahead this morning. We'll have a nice warm-up at just after 11. Get our voices nicely exercised. We'll sing Elgar's Torrents in Summer, which was this week's quarantine chorus piece. And if you haven't had a chance to look at that, of course, you're all very busy people. There is a lot going on. But if you enjoy the sound of this and you haven't learned to sing it yet, watch the video on the channel. If you just put in quarantine Elgar, I think it comes up. It's the first hit. And you can learn to sing it. And then you can watch this broadcast back and sing it with everybody. It's just the most beautiful piece. And then we'll sing that beautiful Hashevnu, which I taught on Friday on Quarantine Choir. And it's very simple. I've got the sheet music up, and if you notice, if you don't have the scores for either the Elgar or the Hashevnu, you've still got time. If you click on that arrow below the video where it says show more, or if you're watching on your iPad or on your iPhone or similar, there's a little arrow just below the red and grey line. And if you tap that, you'll see it opens up and you see all the information about today's broadcast, see what we're singing, and you can see there are 2 scores that you can download for free. I don't have a score for Thine Be the Glory that I can share, and Wade in the Water is traditional. But the other 2, you can get your scores, you can follow along. I have been saying to people, do your very best not to print them out if you can avoid it. All right, try not to waste paper in that way. If you have a tablet, if you have a way of looking at these digitally, then try and do that if you can. Though, of course, if you have to print it, we understand. Let's see, who else have we got? We've got lovely Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Happy Sunday, exonerated. Keep singing. I'm really glad you're enjoying it. Fabulous. Hello, Dorothy from Folkestone. Lovely to see you. Hello, Albert. Good morgen. And the sun is shining in Berlin. Wonderful. And Richard, missing your normal singing. Thank you for yours. You're very welcome. You are very welcome. And Margot, love Torrents in Summer. Well, I'm so glad, everybody. I wanted to make sure that we have a range of pieces on the Quarantine Chorus, and some of them have been chosen and suggested by you. So next week, or this coming week, we're going to sing Forêt's Cantique de Jean Racine, at which point you'll hear my terrible French accent, my GCSE French. But I'm sure you'll forgive me. Beautiful music, sublime music, and of course written when Forêt was a slip of a lad. I think he was 16 when he wrote it and submitted it to a choral competition, and of course won. And it was the piece that launched him as a serious composer. So we're going to look at that this week, and then the following week we're going to look at a very beautiful, very simple piece, a bit like as Torrents in Summer, but significantly older. It's called If Ye Love Me by Thomas Tallis, and it is just wonderful. Now, following that, I've had various suggestions, and if you're watching, if you've got suggestions that you would like to share, then please do. Please bear in mind, we're trying to avoid works that are too contemporary because they're in copyright, and we don't want to breach anybody's copyright. So all the scores that we give away are public domain scores, and I always link to where they come from rather than take them and put them on my own website. If I've produced the score, you'll see it's at my website, benengland.com. And so those are free. Please enjoy those. But the rest tend to come from either the Choral Public Domain Library, CPDL, or the International Music Sheet Library Project, IMSLP. If you just put in either of those, CPDL or IMSLP, you'll find the most amazing repository of public domain scores which you can download and look at on your devices. So let's see, how are we doing? Borda to Dr. Glyn, lovely to see you. No, Mark isn't here, Glyn. Mark doesn't have anything to do with Homechoir. Mark is self-isolation choir, and that's a whole different project. It's just yours truly runs Homechoir. So it's lovely to see you. All right, great to see you, sir. And my lovely friend Sue, hello. Morning, Emma. Fantastic to see you as well. Hope the cat's well. Hello, Richard. Hello, Jane. Hello, Martin. Hello, Marion. Oh, it's so lovely to have so many of you online with me. Thank you. Great stuff. Well, we've got a couple of minutes yet. So, as I say, do please sign in. If you can, as throughout the broadcast, if you could hit that thumbs up button, that really helps. If you are watching and you're not subscribed, please consider just pressing that red subscription button. We are, I think, about just under 70 of 2,000 subscribers, and it would be so great to reach that in the next few days. So if you haven't subscribed yet, it doesn't cost anything. It takes just a moment to set up an account if you don't have one. If you've got a Gmail account, you just sign in with that, press subscribe, and there are benefits. You can take part in the polls when I put out what do you want to sing next. If you're a registered member, a subscribed member, you can vote on that. You also get a notification, a little email when I pop up and do a live stream, and that could be useful for you. So do consider subscribing. It really helps us, and it doesn't cost you anything. Okay, so we've got a couple more people coming online. Hello, Dave. Hello, Franz. Hi, Jan. Hello, Christine. Some absolutely lovely people all coming online, which is brilliant. We've got 61 viewers at this point, and that is absolutely fantastic. Okay, folks, so we're going to start in about 45 seconds. I say about. We're going to start in 45 seconds because that's when it's 11 o'clock. So just to say, after this stream, I will be putting up a high definition version, as always, with this bit cut off. So you folks who have arrived early, you've heard all of this chat and all this banter, and it won't be on the finished edit. So that's a little bit of bonus footage just for you. Do remember, please, as I've said a couple of times, make sure you've got your drink of water. There's a bit of a water theme today. And if you haven't got the scores, doesn't matter. You can always pause the stream, get them and come back. All right. But I'm going to be quiet now for a little bit, just for a few seconds for a change, and we'll get started. A very good morning to you, everybody. It's 11 o'clock, and it's time for our Sacred Sing Sunday. It's a great pleasure to be sitting in front of you today, and where I am, the sun is shining. It's a glorious day, and just reading all your lovely comments, many of you are in the same situation. Very lucky, actually, to be able to look out of the window and see the bright sunshine, and to feel its warmth. But I did want to start by talking about the last few days and the last week in particular. Obviously, I saw you last Sunday for the Easter Sing, and thank you very much for all your kind feedback and support on that. This week has been challenging for me. There's been a lot going on behind the scenes. The four of us here in the house are fine, but I have a number of friends, a number of relatives who are going through a very, very difficult time. And I'm sure most of you, all of you, will know somebody who's been horribly affected by this situation that we're in. And as the week went by, more and more messages came in, not just from relatives and close friends, but also from choristers, my new friends, many of whom were taking great comfort in the broadcasts, and some of whom were facing, again, this terrible, terrible situation. One chorister contacted me and said that her mother had died on Thursday, and just before she died, the chorister had gone in and had sung the Eriskay love lilt to her mum as a way of soothing her just before she passed. And literally, I think must have just been a couple of hours after her mother had passed, she wrote a message to me to thank me for teaching her that song. And I was profoundly moved and honoured beyond words is a huge understatement. And I found myself staring out the window for about an hour, just thinking about this thing that we're doing here, and how it's more than just songs. It's more than just me putting on a silly hat and singing Gilbert and Sullivan. It's actually about bringing people what they need at this time. And you are all a big part of that. I mean, to see the comments light up with people talking to each other who would never have met, would never have had this interaction if it weren't for this situation that we found ourselves in. So I found myself on Friday at a bit of a low, everybody, and the weather certainly reflected that here. We had a good couple of days of heavy rain and dark skies, and my mood matched that. And I was thinking about this broadcast, and I wasn't sure what the weather was going to be like, and I thought it was important to talk about the rain, to talk about water and its effects on us. We've just had Easter, which is, of course, all about renewal and rebirth. And there is something very important about the water and about how it washes everything away. And I definitely feel that this morning. And as we sing through our pieces today, we'll warm up in a moment, and I'll ask you to drink plenty of water during your warm-up. As we sing through these pieces today, I want you to just think about that, and to think about the wonderful effects of water on our lives, both literal and spiritual, and figuratively as well. But in enough chatter, I think we should get warmed up and make sure that our voices are in the absolute best tip-top condition for singing. So if I could invite those of you that are able to stand up. And if you're not able to stand this morning, that is, of course, absolutely fine. If you're singing at your desk, if you're singing in your chair, if you're singing in your garden, then you're very welcome to sit. But I would ask you, please, to sit with your feet flat on the floor, with your back straight, and with your neck nice and long for me. Okay. And if we could start by taking some nice deep breaths in and out, just in our own time, in our own way, and just use this as an opportunity to just get some oxygen into your system. It's very, very important. And for those of us who are in the UK, we know that the NHS has issued some guidelines, some exercises that we can do at home, and these breathing exercises are based on them. The most important is to take a deep breath. So let's all take a deep breath and hold it for a count of 2, and now breathe out. Lovely. And please empty your lungs all the way. And now take another deep breath and hold it for 3. 1, 2, 3. And now blow that air out. Splendid. Now make your mouth nice and tall. Really deep, cold breath. Hold it for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And blow. Thank you very much indeed, everybody. Now, if you need to have a sip of drink, please do. When we do the breathing exercises, particularly when I ask you to make your mouth tall, you will feel the back of your throat drying out, and it is really important to stay hydrated in that situation. And just to say one more time, if you find yourself with a gremlin in your throat, if you're making a sound and you get that that feeling of something clogging your throat slightly, try and avoid coughing. Instead, swallow hard and have a sip of drink, okay? And that's just important to bear in mind as we go into the next stage of our warm-up. So I'm going to ask you folks to continue breathing deeply, all right, with that nice tall mouth, and blowing the air out. And if it makes you yawn, that's absolutely fine. Have a bit of a stretch and just use that as an opportunity to fill your system with lots of lovely oxygen. And as we're standing here taking that nice deep breath in and out, we're just going to, as always, just roll the shoulders around. Again, just loosening those muscles in the upper part of our bodies. All right, and allow all of that tension to start to drain away, even as we're just rolling our shoulders around. Lovely. And now roll your shoulders forwards, please. That's lovely. And again, just keep this nice and smooth and slow. It's not about being vigorous or energetic. It's quite the opposite. It's about being smooth and aiming for a perfect stillness in the upper body. That's great. Bring your shoulders up to your ears, everybody, and just let them fall. And just allow that tension to drain away. Give yourself permission to relax. An awful lot of tension in our lives is caused by our own internal monologue, in our own sort of rubbish channel. And that's a really good term that somebody used. He said, if you hear that inner voice telling you, that the situation's hopeless, that you're rubbish. I had quite a lot of that towards the end of last week. Just remember, it's the rubbish channel. Just change the channel. And I always imagine it's like a great big radio set with a big dial, like I used to have, or my mother used to have when I was younger. I used to sit and play with it, and it used to really annoy her because I would always detune the archers after the music. I love the music, but I'd always detune where the fire came on, but I'd always change it. And of course, those radio sets had that wonderful detuning, that static. And if you ever have that negative voice, just detune it. Hear that whistle and whine. And then choose a piece of music that always inspires you, always cheers you up, and tune to that. Okay, thanks everybody. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start to relax our neck muscles now. And again, just give yourself permission to relax and tilt your head over to one side. Bring it to the middle and the other side. Gently stretching your neck out to the middle and forwards. and to the middle. And just let your head roll around gently within those 3 movements. Super stuff. Well done, everybody. That's great. Have a sip of your drink, please. I'm just checking everything's all right in the comments. Lots of lovely people signing in. Absolutely brilliant. Gina's telling Peter off for typing. Be nice. That's the thing. The Larks in Chepstow, wonderful choir, my good friends. They're a bit like a family, so there's a bit of squabbling. Be nice. Okay, now then. Let's make some sound, everybody. So we're going to take a nice deep breath, and we're going to make a very, very breathy first sound of the day. Okay? It's going to be on that note, and I don't want a big I don't want a big, heavy sound. I just want a nice, breathy so you won't be able to hold it for very long. There'll be a lot of breath around the notes. Take a nice, tall breath and... Lovely. And again, still to hum, and... Lovely. Now I'll have an for Norman. A deep breath, and... And again, still to deep breath. Splendid. Now we'll gather our breath and we're going to focus it into an ooh. Ready? And... Lovely. And now we'll have an oh for orange with a dropped jaw. Deep breath and... Still to oh. F egg. Still to air. And finally ah. And lovely. Now tenors and sopranos, bear with me a second. I can feel something in the throat. That's the thing, this time in the morning I'm definitely a bass. We're going to go up here, okay, and any basses and altos that want to join us here, you're very welcome to. You might want to drop down the octave at this point. And tenors and sopranos, we're just going to do a couple of little broken chords there. We're going to go ma, 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 and excellent. My turn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And one more, my turn. Me, me, me. Thank you very much indeed. That's by far the highest note you're going to need all morning. So wonderful. Let's start then by singing through this beautiful piece by Edward Elgar. And those of you that have just come online in the last few moments, and we are almost at 100 viewers, which is phenomenal. Thank you ever so much, everybody. This was a piece that I taught on the Quarantine Chorus release, which came out on, I think it was Friday morning this week. And it's from a cantata. It is a secular cantata, but this piece is often used in church services. It's where I first encountered it back in Romford as a choir boy. And it is a beautiful, beautiful piece. It's actually from the very end of the work. The work itself is based on an epic poem. And it obviously doesn't end desperately well for King Olaf, who is a crusader. And so at the end, the chorus come on, and rather than a great big rousing finish, and if you know, for example, Elgar's Enigma Variations, the last movement of that is just a wall of sound. But here it's much stiller, much calmer, and much quieter. And if you're able to see the words, as torrents in summer, half dried in their channels, suddenly rise, though the sky is still cloudless, for rain has been falling far off at their fountains. So hearts that are fainting grow full to overflowing, and they that behold it marvel and know not that God at their fountains far off has been raining. And so this, I just feel, is the perfect piece for this time. This idea of water from we know not where, from far off, is here to wash away all of our fears, our worries, The hearts that are fainting will grow full to overflowing. And so we'll sing along. We're going to sing along with the choir, okay? And it's a choir of one, multi-tracked. I'm sorry, those of you that are sopranos, I do sing your part in, but I'm not going to get into pitch shifting. There are bits of software that'll take my voice and put it up an octave, but it just sounds like the Chipmunks. I can't inflict that on you. So those of you who are sopranos, do your best, sing along with me. I'm singing your part an octave lower. All right. So do enjoy this, everybody. It is an absolutely beautiful piece, and here we are. Right.
As torrents in summer, after riding their channels, suddenly rise, though the sky is still cloudless, the sky is still cloudless, forever. Has been falling, rain has been falling at their fountains. So hearts that are fainting grow full to overflowing, and they that behold it, marvel and know not that the fountains has been has been
Thank you, everybody. Thanks very much indeed, those of you that were singing along. It is an absolutely beautiful piece of writing, so simple and so effective. I just felt that was really appropriate for today. So let's have a look at our next piece, and this is a traditional Hebrew prayer, and we learned this one on the Quarantine Choir channel on Friday, so I'm just going to get a drink down here. And so, as I've said a number of times, this is a sacred sing, but it is not exclusively a Christian event. I'm not a priest. You might have noticed. I am as I say, I'm a singer with a computer, and so I'm putting out these broadcasts to help people, and it really is open to everybody. We've sung a number of pieces from a variety of cultures and styles. We've sung music from Africa, music from Japan, and so today we're going to sing this beautiful Hebrew prayer. Many of you have been in touch with me actually after this and saying, I remember this song from my youth. We sang this one at school. I certainly did. And we will be returning to this one on the Quarantine Choir channel this week because it works as a beautiful, beautiful round, and I'm going to multi-track it so you can hear those voice parts working together. But it does have a meaning, this, and it was turn us unto thee, O Lord, and we will be turned. Renew us as in days of old. So this is all about renewal. It's all about, again, washing away what was and something new emerging. And if you are able to see the notes on the screen, you'll see actually it goes up and it falls. And we need to have the sense of rising and falling water. And that the time signature, that the number of beats in the bar adds to that lilting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So if you are still standing, I would urge you to please make your knees nice and soft so you can move gently in time with this piece. A couple of things to say. So this prayer is traditionally sung by men. in the synagogue, but this is not doesn't mean that people of all persuasions and genders can't sing this. I'm presenting this as a beautiful piece of music to be enjoyed on our Sunday morning. So what I'll do is I'll sing it all the way through once, for those who haven't heard it before, and then we'll sing it a few times. This is a piece that bears repetition, and I would ask you as you sing, if we can keep the comments for this one to a minimum, or stop them altogether just for the next few minutes, to show the appropriate respect for what is, after all, a beautiful prayer. Okay, so those of you that are following along have perfect pitch. I am putting this one down a tone. I don't fancy singing long top Ds at this time in the morning. It's one of the advantages of running the music as a bass. Everything is deliberately quite low. Now if you're a soprano, if it's too low, start up the octave. Okay, entirely up to you how you want to handle it. But yeah, as a bass, it's one of the few times actually on a Sunday morning I can set things so I'm feeling comfortable. So this is Hashevnu. Here we go.
Hashevnu, Hashevnu, Adonai Elecha, v'nashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh, Yamenu kekedem.
Isn't that the most beautiful melody? Absolutely beautiful. So we'll sing that 2 or 3 times in a row, and I'll drop the accompaniment out, I think, for the last time, and we'll all sing together and just call to mind, as I say, the meaning behind this, that we will all be changed, we will be renewed, and that is, after all, something that we all hope for very sincerely in all of this, all these new relationships, this new family that we're building here, with this choir, with all the online choirs, with all of the new connections that we're making, that there is a feeling of renewal, and there will need to be when we all emerge from our caves in however long it is, and we can meet together, that there will be something special and something new that we've built here, and we will be renewed. Here we are. Deep breath and
Hashevnu, Hashevnu, Adonai Elecha, v'nashuva, v'nashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh, Yamenu kekedem. Hashevnu, Hashevnu, Adonai Elecha, v'nashuva, v'nashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh, Yamenu kekedem. Hashevnu, Hashevnu, Adonai Elecha, v'nashuva, v'nashuva, Kadesh, Kadesh, Yamenu Kekedem.
Thank you, everybody. I think we should just be silent and still for a minute and just think about the events of this week, of the lockdown, to think about what was, what is now, and what will be when all of this is a memory and we can all meet again. So let's just be still and quiet for a minute, and then we'll sing our hymn. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Now we're going to sing a traditional hymn, and this is a traditional Easter hymn. Also happens to be by the wonderful Handel, and if you have come across to this broadcast from the Self-Isolation Choir, whom I'm working with on weekday evenings and having a wonderful time, this style of music will be very familiar to you. The tune is called Maccabeus, because it came from Handel's piece Judas Maccabeus, and if you don't know it, the refrain is here at the bottom: Thine be the glory, risen conquering Son, endless is the victory, thou our death hast won. Okay, and so this again will be slightly lower than usual for those of us of the bass persuasion. Okay, here we go.
Thine be the glory, risen conquering Son. Endless is the victory, thou o'er death hast won. Angels in bright raiment rolled the stone away, kept the folded grave clothes where thy body lay. Thine be the glory, risen conquering Son. Endless is the victory, thou o'er death hast won. Lo, Jesus meets us, risen from the tomb. Lovingly he greets us, scatters fear and gloom. Let the church with gladness hymns of triumph sing. For her Lord now liveth, death hath lost its sting. Thine be the glory, risen conquering Son. Endless is the victory, thou o'er death hast won. No more we doubt thee, glorious Prince of life. Life is naught without thee, aid us in our strife. Make us more than conquerors through thy deathless love. Bring us safe through Jordan to thy home above. Thine be the glory, risen conquering Son. Endless is the victory, thou o'er death hast won.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for that lovely singing. And I'm sure you'll agree, what a wonderful hymn, and entirely relevant. I find that third verse in particular, that the end of that, make us more than conquerors through thy deathless love. There's a huge importance to that line and for the whole thing, but there's a lot to be said at the moment. We don't want to be at each other's throats. We don't, all this political business about nationalism and closing borders and putting up fences. It's not about that at all. It's about establishing a new world where there are no borders, no boundaries. We are all united by our humanity and our love for everybody. So thank you for that. And we're going to finish today, as we always do, with something a little bit more, well, in this case, a bit of gospel music. I was about to say a bit lighter. It's not lighter, this, at all. This one has a lot of guts and a lot of fire. This one is a piece we've sung on the Quarantine Choir channel a few times. And if you're new to Homechoir, as I know many of you are, you're very, very welcome. Do please have a look back through all the videos. They're all completely free. Do tell everybody about this channel, please. We are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers this week, which would be wonderful. I do want to let you know, those of you who tune into the QC Kids broadcast, which we've been doing on weekday mornings, I have decided very, very reluctantly, I should say, I've been persuaded to relinquish control over one of the broadcasts, and so I have handed control of QC Kids to my 11-year-old daughter Katie, and we have a very special video tomorrow where that happens, where I hand the channel over to her, and she has recorded a wonderful song for the kids to sing, and any of you are please welcome to sing it and sing along with her. And she'll be putting out regular broadcasts for the children. They won't be live to begin with, but they'll be there for you to enjoy. Please do share those videos. Please do give her all the encouragement that she needs. She herself is struggling a little bit in isolation. She's a year 6 student, so for those of you not in the UK, that means she's in the last year of primary school before she's supposed to go up to secondary school in September, and she's really missing all her friends. And so just, as I say, give her all the encouragement that you can. I'd really appreciate that. And so we're going to finish today, folks. As I say sometimes, if I was wearing a tie, I'd loosen it at this point. We're going to sing Wade in the Water, or as I should say properly, Wade in the Water, because we don't want to be singing this with too much of a British RP. Wade in the water, children. It's Wade in the water. And so I do hope you've enjoyed this morning. It's really lovely doing this with all of you, to have so many people online, so many wonderful comments. Thank you very much indeed. If you've enjoyed today, please consider hitting that like button and telling everybody about it. We're here every Sunday, and it would be great to get these numbers even higher, because then I know we're really having an impact and really making a difference. So let's finish today with Wade in the Water, and I'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. for our live Quarantine Choir broadcast. Here we go. Actually, no, do you know what? Before we do it, I'm going to put it back, and then proper key. We'll do this one in D minor. Here we go. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water again. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See those children dressed in white. God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children of the Israelites. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See those children dressed in red. God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God God's gonna trouble the water. See those children dressed in black. God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children with the devil on their back. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See those children dressed in blue. God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children that's coming through. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Thank you, everybody. I hope you've had a good time this morning. And do please, as I say, tell everybody about this broadcast. But wherever you are, I hope you have a wonderful day, a very, very peaceful Sunday. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks ever so much for joining me.